Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. One of my most challenging, yet I enjoy these videos. It's challenging because it really makes me think. It's what I go through. It's what I do for a living, going and traveling across the country, fishing new lakes. And I've got a couple new ones this year that we're fishing on the tournament trail that I've got to go and do what I'm doing right here for you guys. But it's Where to Start, sponsored by Optima Batteries. We got 3 great lakes for you. I have not been on 2 of them for sure, and one of them again is here in Oklahoma. I had a loyal subscriber left a comment to break down Pine Creek Lake down in southern Oklahoma. It's going to be interesting because the lake's really falling, so we're going to talk about falling lakes during the spawn, what to do, what to look for, how I would attack that. The other lake, or the next lake, Hopatcong, I got to say it fast, New Jersey. Another subscriber mentioned that lake. Really an interesting lake, not very big, but it's the biggest lake in New Jersey. I feel for you guys. If 2,500 acres is your biggest lake, I can't imagine how much pressure that has on it. But Lake Hopatcong, I don't know. We're going to butcher it. But it's right there in New Jersey. It's got, the research I did, it's got smallmouth and largemouth. I've got some ideas looking at that, how I would go break it down. And then last, I'm going to break down Lay Lake. That's where I'm going to be as you're watching this video. So I'll be there at Red Crest competing. Can't wait. I'm just super excited. I have been there, but it's been over 10 years ago. Fished a couple classics there, maybe a E50 or something. I don't remember, but really none of them in the same time frame. Or really, that lake's really evolved. I think it's gotten a lot better through the years with the Coosa spots getting bigger. So we're going to break it down. I hadn't even looked at it yet. So, I've looked at it like over the last few weeks, but I've not really studied it. So we're going to do that one also. So you guys stay tuned. As always, at the end of the video, we will be giving a battery away, one of these Optima Blue Tops. We go through there. I've got a winner picked out here randomly on my phone from a subscriber. So you guys want to stay tuned. You want to leave a comment on this video because you might be the winner when we go to do this all over again in April, breaking 3 more lakes down. Really thankful to Optima. Really excited about my new lithium batteries I'm running in my boat. They are the title sponsor there at Red Crest this year. So if you guys are in the area, in the Alabama area, come out to Birmingham, check out the expo, come watch all the festivities, come out to the lake and say hi to me. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to have a great event there. So let's get started. Let's break some lakes down. We're going to start out, I think, Pine Creek, just because it's fallen. It's, in my opinion, it's going to be muddy. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about here. So I am going to zoom in and we're going to get started. Okay, looking at Pine Creek Lake here, like it's got a big major river flowing into it. It's got a big secondary creek down here off to the dam. A lot of water flowing through this thing. When I looked up the water level at one point at the very end of January, this lake was, let me just double check to make sure I'm right. This lake was 449. Right now it's 443. So it's fell 7 feet. So that's a lot of water that it's just continually, falling all through the month of February. And, Pine Creek's in the southern part of Oklahoma. Fish would be spawning towards the end of February down there, especially with the warm weather we've had. But they won't spawn, I don't feel like a lot of times, on falling water conditions unless the lakes were really, really clear. In this situation, Pine Creek, I think I've drove by it when I was a kid, and I remember it being pretty clear. I really don't know, but I have to think with a lot of that water, a lot of rain, if it's really been high, it's really fallen, you're going to have a lot of dirty water down there right now too. So let's talk about dirty, falling water. I feel like that really holds fish back. Through my career, I've caught fish spawning in Texas in June, but the lakes were flooded all year. I've caught fish spawning on Grand the first week of June, but the lake's been super high all year. Just those years that you have floods, those bass, not all of them, but a lot of them wait till things stabilize, till the water level, gets stable. Because, if a lake's really big on the rise and it's really big on the fall, they're not going to have a successful spawn, and they've been around since the turn of the century, so they know how to survive. And with Pine Creek like this, I feel like it just stacks up a gob of fish right there on the brink of going up to spawn, you know. And so if we're just to zoom in, you know, like if I was to pick this secondary creek, I pick it because I feel like it's going to be a little bit more consistent than that main river. You got lots of current, lots of water coming down. You know, this is going to be my best, you know, water clarities. And, you know, I go back here in time and man, there's a couple low water photos like this one in 2012. And I've got this great road going right across a big giant spawning flat. So in my mind, I would definitely have to go and look at this road right here. I want to pull it up on my, I've got that New Jersey lake pulled up because I was looking at it. I want to pull it up here on my Navy Onyx and just see what that depth is. That bridge, oh, that bridge is good. So that bridge, this doesn't look like a super accurate Navy Onyx map in this backwater because of so much timber. A lot of times they have a hard time, you know, getting those things surveyed. But it says that bridge is like in 6 to 10 feet of water, which in my mind, the lake's 3 feet high. You know, you're looking at 9 to 10. There's going to be fish on this thing. I don't know that I'd idle down it. I'd probably fish down this bridge, you know, and I'd start on this road and I'd fish all the way down this thing. You're going to get to this intersection here where it intersects with the creek. This is going to be the most vertical section of it where it has the most depth change. I've got a secondary little culvert right there that I'd pay a lot of attention to because I feel like it would kind of get overlooked. You know, the bridge here is going to get a lot of attention, but to me, that would definitely be just a very high percentage cross intersection, fish migrating to spawn, river channel road, all the great things that you have right there. That would definitely be a spot for me to start because I've got falling water, fish are wanting to go shallow, they can hold right there before they go back and, you know, spawn on this bank right here with this old road. You know, with that water being up, this old road, you know, once things stabilize, man, you put water in this lake when it's flooded. I think that road is underwater. Right there, it's almost underwater. That's just going to be a good spot. To me, that looks like still a fairly low water photo. I know there's a lot of green trees in the water, but that lake was low for a long time. So that would be a spot that I would also look at once things stabilize back there. So that's kind of a 2-for-1 right there, really, really close. All right, a couple other areas on Pine Creek. Think about fish sitting there staging, wanting the water to stabilize. Think about if fish can't wait, they're going to look for the most vertical cover they can to where, you know, if it's fallen, you know, it's still vertical. They're still got lots of water over their back, you know, and that's going to be more of a main lake deal. So if I've got a lot of current coming down through here, you know, they're draining the lake, trying to get it back down, a pocket like this one right here at the dam, especially this little channel bend right here. You know, this stretch right here, those fish are going to stack up. They're going to be right there. They could actually spawn right there, you know, and I put water in. This is what it's going to look like right now. You know, that stretch right there to me is going to be really a prime stretch because they're not going to be scared of the water getting off their eggs. It's a steeper bank, but yet it's also that creek bend. There's just lots of good things going on right there. You can't even tell there's a creek bend in that photo of it right there. I like stuff like that with those kind of conditions. It's a steeper bank. They just feel a little bit more secure, and it's, you know, 2/3 of the way back in a pocket. That's just another really, really good spot to start. It's out of that main current, everything going down through there. Let's find one more and see if something just really jumps out at me on this lake. You got such great, awesome spawning pockets everywhere on it. You know, I just love it when I have a photo where the water's low. You know, it just gives everything up on a given lake. Just huge spawning flats. You got cool roads and dams that go across this lake. This is one cool lake. I would love to be closer and go down there and spin. Okay, I see like 3 or 4 spots right here. I've got a big major creek. Got another big major creek over here. Interesting. Really quick. Okay, I've got a road bed right here. Great spot for fish to stage waiting for them to come out. Great spot for fish to stage as they're coming back out from spawning. It's going to be a spot I'm going to look at. I come back here, I've got a channel swing right here against this bank next to a spawning flat. I've got those females are going to stage right here. They're going to pull up in here and spawn. To me, that's a good bank. I'd fish down this bank. I've got a little rock ridge right out here in the middle that might not be on a map, that might get overlooked. I got a hard spot right here. Really, really a cool spot, and an outside bean. You just got a lot of really cool things going on right there. That, to me, would definitely be a spot I would look at. Same thing over here. I've got an old road, old dam going across this thing. You know, you've got some structure right here. You got a brush pile on this side. Spot for those fish to stage, wait for them to go up into this pocket. You know, once you get in this thing, it all gets flat. So I just feel like those fish aren't going to get overly far when that water's falling really hard. You know, like right now, that water's all the way up in here. Those big ones are going to stay closer to where they don't know how far it's going to fall, I feel like, you know. So I feel like they're going to relate a little bit to it. But, man, what a cool, cool lake. There's just so much character to it. Got an old road bed right here that you could fish. All kinds of stuff in that thing. As you get up another road, crossing it right there, and I can just go on and on pointing out spots to look at on this lake, but a cool, cool lake. Let's move on to Hopatcong. Cool lake. You got to say it fast, so it makes me think that I'm saying it right. All right, we're going to zoom out, and we're going to look at it here on my Navionics. Okay, so when I look at it on my Navionics, I notice that I have a huge, huge area of deep, deep water. It looks like 40, 45, 50 feet. Okay, so what that tells me, that it is going to take a long time for this stretch of water to warm. You know, and here we are, we're talking about March fishing, you know, things warming up. This is going to be a lot of the lake that the smallmouth are going to be at in this thing. You know, I feel like two different scenarios if we're talking about smallmouth or largemouth. So if I'm talking about largemouth fishing and I'm wanting to go somewhere where I think I can catch some largemouth rather quick in this lake, I love this bridge that comes across for a couple reasons. It's protected from any winds, you know, north-south. I've got a smaller body of water back here, much shallower, 3 to 5 feet. Gonna warm really, really quick. Those fish can stage winter. Fish moving in from the main lake are going to stop on this bridge. I would fish these bridge pilings all the way across this lake. I really like it. I got some marinas, a couple other things here to fish as those fish are moving back here to spawn, because, you know, and then as it warms up, I'm just going to move back into this pocket, you know, fishing these boat docks. If there's any grass, I don't know if there's grass there, guys, then I'd be fishing grass, but fishing these boat docks, you know, really paying attention as those fish move into spawn. But I love this bridge. To me, that's a great pre-spawn staging area for fish wanting to come back in here and spawn. It could be a smallmouth deal, could be a largemouth deal. You've got both, because it's just right here, the deep water, right there, the shallow water, lots of good things going on right there. Lots of boat docks. It does say submerged vegetation, so looks like you got a pretty cool pipeline that goes across there too, so something else to check out, or maybe that's just a no wake zone. All right, something else that I noticed when I looked at this lake, you got another neat area up here that comes out of another lake. To me, that looked like a spillway lake, so it's not going to have a lot of flow, but I've got a lot of small protected areas in here that I feel like the water could warm really, really quick. A fish is protected from the wind, and things could happen back in these canals really, really quick. And you got a pinch point, a bridge right there. You've got, you know, a couple other pinch points with these bridges right here. So those would be some areas that I would look at. And this is also up in an area that is shallower, that's going to warm quicker, in my opinion, than, say, this big, massive water. You know, as you get into April, May, and later in the spawn, you know, those main lake fish, like in these pockets down here, they're going to spawn a month later than these fish that are way up in here, in my opinion, you know. And both with smallmouth and largemouth, you know, they're going to spawn at different times also, you know, the largemouth being a little bit after that smallmouth. Just looking at a few other things, you've got another really neat backwater right here that's going to warm up really quick, really close to deep water. I like these small openings. And what happens on a lake like this that's rather complex with lots of shoreline. When the wind starts blowing, it really sucks water in and out of those areas. So it would be an area that I would hit multiple times throughout the day because water is going to be moving back and forth on that. Same thing, you know, with this bridge right here. When that wind, I don't care what direction it is, it's moving water here and it moves it down, then all of a sudden it's got to come back. It's going to push and pull in those small things almost like a tide. So these bridge openings, you know, the month of March, I would definitely have to be stopping on each one of those. So cool lake. I really like this back area back here. You got a big marina. Those fish could stage under this marina. Again, an area that's shallower than the rest of the lake that could warm up really, really quick. So those are some areas that I would look at on this lake. You know, I would have to assume fishing's really, really tough there. You know, anytime you can kind of get out off the bank and maybe fish some of these, you know, secondary, really subtle points, you know, in the grass off these islands, is these little contours. You know, it says there's submerged grass right here. This interesting dock here is it's you know, kind of on a change from deeper water to shallow water. Anything you can find different like that, that's kind of subtle, like this point right here. You just got a little subtle point right there in the mouth of that bay that would be a spot that I would look at, you know, out in that 6 to 10 feet of water, throwing a crankbait or casting a jig or something like that too. So neat lake, lots of character. Golly, there's just so, for a 2,500 acre lake, it fishes really, really big. So, you know, I think those smallmouth are going to relate more to this main body of water. Things are going to, you know, they're going to be closer to it a lot of times. You know, I'm not saying you won't catch one up in here. Like, you know, you've got some water mass back here, but I don't feel like these canals back here is going to be where you're going to catch those smallmouth. You know, those smallmouth, they're going to set up a lot of times just on main lake stuff. If you can just find a little flat, you know, a sandy area, a clean area in the grass, it can happen there for those guys really quick. You know, like this little secondary point that comes off right there. I like that. Another one right here. You've got another little ridge right here. You know, maybe this one here, depending on if you guys got really clear water, this underwater hump right there could be a place where those smallmouth would spawn. If you got super clear water, this one here right here with 14 feet of water on top of it could be a place that smallmouth would spawn, you know, to swim in a grub or small swim bait, you know, or even a big coal shad, you know, something like we did when we gave away in last week's video. That would be a spot in that Hopatcong lake that, or that'd be a place that I would throw those kind of baits there on that lake. All right, the last one, Lay Lake. Here we go. Really a cool lake. Narrow lake, 12,000 acres, spotted bass, largemouth, current. Those guys are getting dumped on, I feel like, with rain. Every time I look at the radar, it just seems like it's really raining over there. So to break this down, I mean, I'm doing this for myself. I think the cleanest water that I'm going to have is going to be in some of these creeks down here by the dam. And I think a lot of time on lakes like this that you know, maybe they spawn a little bit backwards. You know, those places way up the river is going to be the coldest water. Those down by the dam is going to be the most consistent. You know, doesn't have as much flow because there's a wider mass of water there that the flow is not as much. So these areas down here are going to warm a little quicker. So like this big main creek that I've got right here, yeah, it's got a big feeder creek in the back. I need to find a photo here where the clouds aren't on it right there. I don't know. I feel like this could be a creek that's going to be a player. You know, I don't even know the name of it, but it's just got a lot of character to it. I think it's going to be consistent. You know, I look at this grass bed right here leading into a spawning pocket. All kinds of grass coming in back here. So this is going to be an area that I want to look. You know, when I get to Lay Lake, I'm going to think a lot about, I'm going to look at that water temperature and think about water clarity, water temperature. Where is it going to happen? What's going to be the most consistent? And then try to project what's going to happen throughout the week and move with them throughout that lake. You know, at the lower end of the lake, I think being in the best shape, you know, when you look at some of the photos, this big secondary creek that comes in here, at times this thing gets really muddy. I think one of these photos I show you right here, it's mud all the way out. Yeah, look at it here. So, a couple things. that could warm up. You know, if they're having the temperature that I'm having here in Oklahoma right now, 80 degrees, everybody knows this muddy water is going to warm up really, really quick. So I got 3 days. I'm going to spend that first day just really getting a grasp. You know, I feel like I can look at 12,000 acres fairly quick. Look at that right there. That creek flows clear. Look how dirty all that is and how clear that is. That's kind of interesting. Same thing here. The back of this pocket flows clear. I got a bridge, a culvert. I got a great pinch point right there. That's going to be interesting. Just stuff like that is what I'm going to look for. You know, I want to see the water temperature and what it's doing. You know, the coldest versus the warmest. You know, another thing that I think is going to come into play, well, this creek right here, this is, I think, Beeswax Creek. I think this is the creek that Kevin, you know, you look at this little culvert right here, you know this little pond right here is going to warm up super quick. It's also super popular, I would assume, you know, just lots of people. You can see the water flowing back. You know, we talked about that on that last lake. That's a wind deal. See how that's pushing back in there? That's just the wind blew this direction maybe that night. Now it all, you know, the wind died back down. Now it's coming in. That's the only way that clear water would be coming in like that. That's a prime example why bridges are so key to me. Why we always talk about a place to start. Why not make a cast right there? Because there's water flowing back in. The only way that happens is if the lake's really rising or the wind's blowing. So that just is an example of what makes those good. But with all that said, this is going to warm really quick. I would have to assume this will be some of the warmest water. It's some of the shallowest water, and it's the most protected water because you have just such a little opening right there for that to get in. And, you know, one of the last classics we had there, this Beeswax Creek, I mean, it's where it went down. You know, there's just lots of grass. It's a flat creek. So let's talk about why did it go down there? Well, the classic was in the end of February. This was some of the warmest, most consistent water, and because, you know, we talk about this a lot. When you go to start on a body of water, you find, you know, a big, massive body of water, you know, those biggest flats, you know, whether that flat's 10 feet, 5 feet, 15 feet compared to the rest of the lake, that always houses the most amount of shad and bass, you know, Rayburn, you got the forest, you got, you know, Needmore Point, all those areas are flats, you know, and those flatter areas are going to warm up quicker also. And that's going to be a reason why this creek was such a big player in one of those last classics at the end of February. You know, we're going to be there now 3 weeks later than that event, so I don't feel like, you know, that's going to be quite as critical as it once was, you know, unless things get really, really cold. Running up the river, current, all this rain, this could really come into play up here. It truly, truly could. Spotted bass absolutely love the current. A place to start on any body of water would be right below a tail race like this. You know, just find something different as you come down through here. This island, you got current hitting this bank right here. If it's really flooded, any place I can get to the bank is a key, you know, in the Coosa River. You know, so many times when it gets super flooded up these rivers, you know, you got trees and bushes and all that. A spotted bass just wants to get up to a hard bank. And, you know, I don't know what it's like up there right now, but if this rain continues, it could be one of those deals. Just find a spot you can actually make it to the bank and you'll catch a lot of fish. So I feel like up here, up the river is going to be a play. You know, like a creek mouth like this time of year, I always stop and look at those. You just can't go wrong. You know, a leading edge of an island, the back edge of an island, you know, this little turn in this island would be a stretch that if things warm up, they could spawn. Same thing with that little turn right there. I know those are really subtle, but that's all it takes is just a few feet out of the current for those fish to spawn. You know, specifically talking about spotted bass. So long run up that river, but who knows, it could really, really be worth it. You got a couple backwaters right here that look really interesting. Those kind of look like borrow pits of some sort. You know, back maybe a farmer dug those out to put better dirt over here in this field. I don't know. Those are kind of interesting myself. But those are the kind of areas that I am going to look at when I go to Lay Lake. Just the river, the current, any little places right outside of the current, those creek mouths. I'm going to look all the way at the other end of the dam. I'm going to really pay attention to water temperature to find myself in the place that's going to have the best water temperature. A lot of times those spotted bass, you know, they will spawn just right inside main lake points. You know, it's just whatever reason it is, they live out here in this current, but then they'll just come right in here, you know, in a little bay, just right around the corner, and bam, this will be the stretch that they'll be on. And, you know, maybe that's where I start, you know, something like that. I'm going to fish it all. I can't wait to get there to this event, you know, with it being Redcrest. Adds a little bit more competition to my competition meter, just because it's a big event, a lot of money on the line. I can't wait to get there. I truly can't. So you guys follow along. I will be in my 3rd day of practice, I think, when this video comes out, and we'll see how it's all going. I'll try to give you an update on my social media. Probably have a video, obviously, from this tournament. Hopefully I can get a practice video and a tournament video up to just let you know how it's going. So, Lay Lake, I can't wait to get there, Redcrest. All right, let's get to the winner. Let's not drag this out any further. We randomly went down through there and we picked. How do you win, guys? You just leave a comment. It's that simple. Just leave a comment. As I read this comment to you, it's nothing special. I ask that you be a subscriber. That's one of those things we can look at. But I got Ryan Varner 6520. Edwin, you always share good info on the lakes that could be put to practice on so many other lakes around the country. Thanks for sharing. Ryan, for leaving that video, buddy, all you got to do is send me an email through my website. I'm going to give you an Optima battery certificate to get an Optima battery blue top of your choice. So appreciate you doing that, leaving that comment. You guys leave a comment on this video. Who knows? You might be the random lucky winner next month. I will pick it. I will never email you. I don't do any of that spam stuff. You are the only person that would ever email me if I chose you as a winner. So with all that said, you guys wish me good luck at Redcrest. I'm going to get over there and I'm going to finish getting my stuff tied on, get ready to hit the road and head over there and start practicing. So here's to tight lines. Here's to some good fishing. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, guys, and you guys have a great week.